It's about the time to talk it out.
Let's talk, let's talk.
It's time to talk it out. It's time to talk it out.
Let's talk, let's talk.
You know it's time to talk it out.
It's time to talk it out. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Chill, and you are now tuned in to another great episode of the one and only Talk It Out. And as we do every day, I have to bring on my co-hosts. The one and only DJ Despair, all the way from Winnipeg, Canada. And, might I add, the one and only Hugh and DBoss.
Yeah,
all the way from Toronto.
I don't see Despair on here yet. She'll just saying.
Oh, man. So, with that being said, on Talking Out today, I've been brainstorming, right, through my head, trying to figure out, okay, what would be a good subject today to talk it out about, right? And, my head just couldn't get around it, I just have to talk about it. The subject of global warming.
Nice.
Global warming. Oh, man. Now, this is a subject that has been talked about, oh, my God, for ages, right? Everybody has this thing. Everybody has
the membership.
Their opinion. Everybody has, all sorts of different things, right? But I want to know, according to what we're seeing now and what's going on in the world, all the different weather patterns that are happening, all of the different things that we are seeing that people said in the past could happen. How do you feel about it? What is your take on it?
Well,
and Hugh, you look like you really got something to say.
As a Canadian,
as a Canadian,
we think there should be more global warming.
Okay. Could you please elaborate on that, please?
Well, just because it's cold up here, and we, you know what I mean. So I sometimes make that joke.
Yeah.
And I think, boy, I don't know where to start on this global warming thing, but
it's a beautiful thing. You never know what you're going to talk about.
There's one thing that Jill, I'm going to ask you because you've been around a while. I've been around a while. Have you noticed?
Flip the question now. You're the one on the hot seat.
Okay. Then I'll tell you, I haven't really, I remember a time when I was in high school and they were saying at that time there's going to be an ice age. Right. And then we had a real bad snow that year. We had 30 feet of snow where I come from. And then we heard about the global warming. Right. And then now I'm hearing things and then of course Al Gore got into a lot of trouble.
Of course he did.
He was going on this environmental campaign, and then people were pointing out that the data in his papers was flawed, and it was disingenuously presenting the argument. And now I'm hearing things like that planetary temperature, not just Earth, but the other planets in the solar system, temperature highly correlates with sunspot activity. And when there's low sunspot activity, that means that it gets colder on the planet. And right now we're going through a record minimum sunspot cycle. And I'm more concerned about things cooling down than warming up.
Well, speaking of sunspot activity, have you been reading the news or Google? there's been an enormous amount of sun flares, a lot of electromagnetic activity coming from the sun.
Okay.
They're talking about it all over more than ever. They're saying that the biggest flare, like in hundreds of years, has happened, like recently, like within the last couple of days. And, you know, I just saw it on Google, literally. You know, so it's like, okay, we know that the sun plays a huge part in our weather, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then they're saying that, you know, we had this big hole in the ozone layer, right?
Yeah.
So, but now they're saying that because we had this lockdown, okay, that it actually started to close back up because we weren't causing as much poison into the air.
Yeah, I heard it got completely healed, the ozone hole.
But you know what's crazy, though, is that, and they're saying the bee population is coming back.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So what's crazy, though, is that we are, I just find it ironic that we are, you know, different people are campaigning about the fact of us being on lockdown and stuff, but yet it's healing the earth. That's crazy. It's healing the long-term effects of this planet. So are we as humans the problem?
Oh, that's a great question. I'd like to address that. But
you know, seriously. That's crazy.
No. So, okay, here's what I think, Phil. I think that this whole environmental movement is being used to get people to think that human beings are the problem. And I think that it can provide, under certain circumstances, a convenient excuse for people to think that it's good for a lot of people to maybe get killed, because that means there's less of the problem around. And I think that it can be very dangerous to promote the idea that human beings are the main problem on the earth.
But the thing about it is that it doesn't, you don't have to kill humans to solve the problem. You can just create the remedy at which humans create a law that humans would have to abide by and go by to fix the problem, rather than killing people.
Yeah, yes, I agree with that. But I would also just bring up the idea of a problem being that our scientific models are imperfect.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, I can't be sure whether the Earth is getting warmer or colder right now. So if the global government or the UN or whatever government passes a law to say that we're going to penalize carbon emissions, I'm thinking to myself, well, you know what? Maybe we should be putting more carbon into the atmosphere because we're going to need it to save ourselves from the next ice age because of the low sunspot activity. And I don't think that scientists can, because science, we always hear stories of, oh, the scientists just realized that they were wrong. You know, thalidomide. Oh, that was, you know, a good idea until they found out that it was causing deformities, you know. And who knows what this vaccine's going to do?
But what is science, though? Like science, and well, you know what? Before I go all off into that, DBoss, I know you want to say something, but trying to get your head. So tell us your feedback on it.
And you got to put your camera down because you look like you're peeping up at the top again. But
I'm trying to.
There you go.
Yeah, it's my seat. I'm short, so you know. I'm a short person.
That's not the point.
Oh my goodness.
With regards to the global warming and stuff, but people are noticing, they're noticing that a lot of the, you know, the icebergs and stuff are melting and breaking off a lot quicker you know, they're breaking, ones that you never thought would break, and they're actually floating and disintegrating. And then the next thing is that a lot of the whales and stuff, like they don't even know where they are. They're just coming into wherever ocean they are in. So they're kind of a little bit, you know, it seems that everything's a little confused now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nature is starting to, you know, yeah, a lot is starting to happen. But what I was going to ask, you know, we talk about science, right? And how science is doing this and doing that, right? But you got to think about this, and I'm going to get a little deep here. First of all, science itself, right? What is science? Who created science, and how was it created? How was it thought of? You see, and the thing about it is they talk about back in the day how the Egyptians or the Kemetic people and how they created these different sciences and things of that nature for Earth and humankind and whatever it is. But all of that was created from internal knowledge. Like everyone knows that they would meditate upon things and were given the knowledge from a higher power. Now, whether you believe that that higher power was God, was aliens, whatever it wasn't human, you see? So they were given this knowledge, and then they took that knowledge and put it out there, taught people math, arithmetic, all these different things. But see, this is where the problem comes in. They thought of science from a higher power, but yet science, we as humans took science and we're starting to evolve throughout history. We're evolving with science, not from our own higher power or intuitiveness or whatever, but through our own thought, what we feel, our own mind, which holds a sense of prejudiceness towards different, whatever it may be, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about science, you can't have a prejudice if you want the truth. If you're talking about the truth of a topic, right? Would you not agree that there should not be a prejudice involved, because that would interfere with the truth itself? Regardless of what you feel or what you think, the truth is the truth, right?
Yeah, you know, if I can just add to that, Chill, it's like I heard a phrase or a quote somebody said once, that science progresses one funeral at a time. And the idea behind that is that, and I think this is, you know, we're human beings, right? So I think prejudice is built into us. And one of the things that people have a real difficulty with is having their worldview questioned, right? And I think this is even shows what's happening in politics these days. Everything's so polarized. I mean, even on our panel, I'll just say me and Daryl, right? We find ourselves on opposite ends of the conversation sometime. Thank goodness we're old friends, right? But it's like he sees things totally different from what I do. And it's our worldviews. Daryl's got his worldview and he doesn't want to change it. And he's not getting information from the environment that helps him. I'm the same way. Sorry, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about Daryl here. And so when it comes to science, even too, these scientists, they've got a particular worldview, whether it's, you know, they go along with Einstein and not Tesla. But there are people that, and it's just so difficult for people to change their worldview. And scientists are no different. And I think that's where all that stems from, Chill.
Yeah, the key is being open-minded, having an open mind about things and willing to accept change.
And willing to accept that you might be wrong.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. And you know, that's just universal. You know, and there's nothing wrong with being wrong because it's a part of growth.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Because, yeah, you could think you're headed to the right to the landing strip at the airport, but if you're wrong, there's going to be serious consequences. You know, even if you're wrong, I think you want to know where that landing strip is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
you know. What'd you say, DBoss?
That's accountability.
Yeah,
You're held accountable for what you do and what you're saying and what's happening with you. And a lot of people don't want to take that accountability and say, you know, this is where I stand for and this is where I am. Or maybe I need so many people behind me to feel the same way so I feel and justify your either you stand for something or you don't stand, and either you're standing alone or by yourself, it doesn't matter. And that's when you're being integrity and accountability. If you can't stand, you got to go get 10 and 15 and 20 people to believe you, then something's wrong there. That's what I feel.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny how you say that, DBoss, because like we are taught growing up that, like you just said, you got to stand for something, right? Well, the thing about it is, okay, yeah, we stand for something, but how about that something being standing for the truth? If we stand for the truth, we will have an open mind about anything that may come our way, you know, and we would use, see, this is how, and this is once again, my personal opinion, disclaimer. This is how the Egyptians actually were so far advanced, because they kept an open mind. So when things came to them from the outside world, what they would do is they would take the knowledge and then they would meditate upon the knowledge and allow the intuitiveness, the spiritual world, to guide them in the right way to hopefully find some sort of truth to what they learned, okay? Perfect example, right? If you tell me that the sky is falling, right? Okay? The sky's falling. Now, I don't need to go and meditate upon that the sky is falling, because I'm sitting here, and if it falls, I pretty much am going to feel it, right? Or see it, right? But it's the things that we don't see, we don't feel, we don't hear, that people bring up and they try to instill in our minds to be truth, that then turns around and comes from being an idea to from a thought to an idea to facts. You see, we skip a part between idea and facts called probability. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. You know? So it's like, how can you say that's facts? What's your proof? And if you don't have any proof, then how can you say it's facts? If your proof is based upon what someone else said out of a book, how do you know that they're not lying to you?
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's the idea of like firsthand knowledge, right? Something that you've experienced yourself, you know. So if we can speak from that, but anything else, anything we get from a book, anything we get from TV, from a news story, like we can't totally be sure about that. We can only truly be sure about what we experience ourselves.
Right. So, but then again, you got to go back and say, okay, there are all these different situations that are happening that we've never experienced before.
Yeah.
So how can we sit up here and say this is the way it is and this is the way it's not? You know, we can only say, well, I believe that this what it could be. But for us to turn around and say it's this way and that's what it is, would then be considered wrong. Right. Because we don't have infinite thought. Yeah. Every human is finite, right? Yeah. Every human is limited in their thought.
And you got to be open to changing the game plan. You might have a certain understanding of the situation, and based on that, you choose a certain direction. But when the environment gives you new information, you got to be ready to change your approach.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where the problem comes in. A lot of the powers that be that make the decisions for whether or not things are one way or another are not willing to do that.
Yeah, especially in when things become institutionalized, right? Whether it's whether it's a giant healthcare system, and this kind of goes back to the whole COVID thing. You know, the healthcare system is a giant institution. It has a certain approach to disease, a certain approach to health, to treating people. But I mean, it's like we know what's healthy food, right? But if you go to a hospital in Ontario, I don't know if it's the same down there in the U.S. Chill, they're going to serve you Jell-O, and you know, they're going to serve you pork chops, and you know, they're not giving you the most healthy food in the world, and they're a hospital.
Well, see, this is the thing, though. That's where you go right back to. We said we all know it's healthy food, but really, do we? We only know what we've been taught is healthy food. See, we grew up on an old commercial that milk does a body good. Pass it on, right? Remember that commercial?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And is milk not dairy?
Yeah.
Milk is dairy, right?
Yeah. It is.
But does dairy not have a negative impact on the body? Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it not a part of causing mucus along the lining of your stomach?
Yeah.
When it comes to Haagen-Dazs, I don't have enough mucus.
But is it mucus the foundation of disease? So how does milk do somebody good?
Yeah, and now you can get the farmers calling you.
Right, you know, but you know, I'm just saying that's what those are the type of things, though, that we're looking at. Growing up, we didn't know that you were supposed to eat organic.
No, we didn't know that.
But
we
now,
put there on, and our father put on the table.
Right, you know, but now we're eating all sorts of organic foods because we learned that, well, this food over here could be processed. You know, this food over here could be processed. Well, if food is processed, then it's not good for you, right? They're talking about it all over the place. I mean, that's why I feel free to talk about it, because you can go anywhere and they'll be talking about it, right? I mean, veganism, you know, everything is a huge movement around it.
Well, we all learn those lessons as individuals. It's easy for us to learn it, but the hospitals are still serving, you know, the food that my parents were making.
Exactly. So who dictates what the hospitals give you?
Yeah.
Right. And the next thing, too, is when we were growing up, like everybody took peanut butter and jam and all that to school. But now all of a sudden, everybody has all these peanut allergies. Like, where'd that come up from?
Yeah. Right.
It's not the vaccines. You're saying it can't be.
You know? I
mean, we're eating peanuts like crazy, and all of a sudden everybody's got peanut allergy. They can't do this. They can't have peanuts. We got to check. I mean, even McDonald's and these places we go down, they're saying, "Oh, food doesn't contain nuts," and you know, I mean, everybody was eating nuts like crazy. So, like, sometimes you have to wonder, well, like, how did that come about? Is it they processing the nuts different or something happened? I don't know.
Well, you know what's even crazier is that if you get a chance, and everybody knows about this, especially in the Caribbean, I believe, but there was a doctor by the name of Dr. Sebi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you study about Dr. Sebi, his teachings, and then how he mysteriously died, right?
Oh, yeah. And then you know that Nipsey Hussle is going to make a documentary about him, and then he mysteriously died.
Right, right. You know, and then Nick Cannon, he goes and says, well, I'm going to take this documentary and do something with it. But all of a sudden, he makes a quote-unquote comment about, what is it? He makes a so-called quote-unquote comment about Jews or something, and they make a huge big deal about it. And all of a sudden, now he's kicked off the... Well, you know what? I'm not going to get all off into that politics of TV and stuff because we're on TV. So I know my limits. I know my limits. But it's just ironic how we already had cures to a lot of different things. And it was, the cures were all grown from the earth. They were all things that didn't cost us a dime. They were free. Fruits and vegetables and different types of things you could put together to make a cure. Perfect example is I never knew anything about sea moss, right? Sea moss and all of these other things until I started studying Dr. Sebi. I started studying Dr. Sebi, and I'm going to tell you right now, you know, I have not gotten sick in a long time, okay? So after this views, if I get sick, you but I haven't gotten sick in a long time because I began eating a certain way. You know, I began, you know, I'm trying to go up now into being vegan, you know, because they say that that's the best route to go. Well, personally, I'm slipping, but I'm trying. You know, I'm trying. I just love chicken. I cannot get around eating chicken. I love my steak. You know, I love these things, but I don't eat pork. I've gotten over that. I don't eat pork, but I love my chicken and I love my steak. Matter of fact, I'm gonna probably go eat me a steak today. You know, but I've cut down on it and I'm starting to try to eat more. Like you go in our refrigerator, it's a lot of organic things. You know, everything's organic. You know, because we're trying to eat what's pure. Even the fruits are organic. They say that you should only buy fruits with seeds. If it does not have a seed, it's man-made.
Wow.
That's crazy. And you go in a grocery store and all they have, for a perfect example, is seedless grapes.
But I like them, though. I like the seedless grapes.
Yeah, I like the grapes, too. Because the seeds get stuck in your teeth.
Right. But you know what? Let's get deeper here before we get into time. When we're born, our parents are feeding us certain types of foods from our birth, which then starts to train our taste buds on what's good and what's not. So then as we get older and we start eating certain foods, like our body is already trained to like sugar. By the time we get a certain age, it's like our taste buds love sugar. So now if you eat something without sugar, it's like bad, it's nasty, but it's bad for you. You see what I'm saying? Artificially made sugar is bad for you. Everybody knows that. You know, so now they have this sugar that's pure sugar. To me, it's still bad for you. You know, But it's the sweetness of it where our taste buds love it. So in essence, when your taste buds love something, mentally you become addicted to it without even knowing. So now, like, I like chicken. And I'm subconsciously addicted to chicken. And I know everybody's at home laughing right now, but go in your refrigerator and see if you got chicken.
I do.
It's something.
We got a little bit of chicken.
What is that?
We got some chicken.
Yeah.
General George Chicken. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Chill, you know, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah. But you know, on the wrap up, I just want to say that, you know, hey, just watch out there for things that are put in your head. You know, be mindful of what you're told, you know, to be facts. Do your own research and find out what is true and what is not. You know, be your own person, you know. And, you know, if someone wants to argue with you and they're just being an idiot, just look at them and say, look, why don't you turn on CaribVision and tune in to Caribbean Liquid Lunch and talk it out?
It's about the time to talk it out.
Let's talk.
It's time to talk it out. It's time to talk it out.
Let's talk.